You've been waiting all year for it. The Roblox Christmas merch is finally back in stock. If you guys want to pick it up for yourself, there is a link to the Roblox group at the top of the description below. Feel free to check it out there and post a picture of your avatar wearing it in the Discord server. Also link below. Enjoy the video. You know what doesn't get much love? The secondaries in Phantom Forces. If your answer to that question, though, was you, fear not, my friend. I love you. However, these secondaries or sidearms in Phantom Forces really don't get that much love, and it's easy to see why. They just aren't primaries. But in today's video, I want to show the silly little guns a little love, and go over the best secondaries that exist in this game, and there are a lot to choose from, too. There are literally 50 secondaries in total. Trust me, I counted twice. Like the silly little smarty man that I am not. So with so many to pick from, we are going to choose the top 3 from each category, of which they won't be in any particular order, just based on when I picked them for the list. And we'll go over their stats, why they're good, and if you should use them yourselves. And also, as a bonus, we'll pick a super ultra mega secret bonus weapon at the end. So stick around for that because it's going to be interesting. There is one rule that I'd like to follow though. I'm allowed to use the attachments I choose so long as they don't change damage or overall performance of the weapon beyond reason. So no wacky conversions or shotgun chokes. All right, well, we've got that. Awesome. Let's get to the video. So the first weapon that we are going to start with, as you just saw a moment ago, is going to be the G17. There is a lot of reasons that I like this weapon, and not just because you can make it look like something that could cause war crimes. So yes, it is very gross and disgusting, for one, at least this particular build that I've been using on it for the last little while here. But this is a weapon that actually has a lot of good stats for it that just generally lead it to be a super decent little weapon. So the first thing that I want to take a look at here is kind of the usual thing that people might want to look at with a weapon, and that is the damage. So in general, this has a very high set of damage numbers for a secondary here, giving us 3-tap limb out to about 40 studs, and because it does actually have a higher than average headshot and torso multi, we get a 3-tap torso out to just about 60 studs, a 2-tap headshot out to about 43 studs, and at least a 5-shot at maximum range. Not to mention the fact that eventually you can get the extended magazine for it, giving you a 33-round magazine, and it has a 780 fire rate. So all this allows you to effectively kind of turn this thing into a bit of like a machine pistol if you really wanted to. Generally, I'd say it's a really solid little package, and I think probably my favorite thing about this is the fact that it is, in fact, a level 0 pistol. The next weapon that we're going to talk about in the pistols category is going to be the Desert Eagle L5, or the Deagle L5 if you prefer. This, still to this day, is one of the very few pistols that I actively get killed by, and it is a very easy task to see why people like this so much. First of all, I mean, the cool factor, it's a Desert Eagle, dude. Everyone, if you've never heard of anything with guns, there are 3 that you're going to know: the AK-47, the AR-15, and the Desert Eagle. Everybody, even non-gun people, have heard of these 3, and this is, of course, one of those 3 staples. So there's a cool factor, obviously. That's kind of a given here. But the second thing, again, whenever you start taking a look at the damage numbers here, you get at least 2-tap clearly out to past 50 studs, and you get just under 3-tap maximum range to the limb. But whenever you start factoring in the multipliers, you get a 2-tap headshot out to 61 studs, 2-tap limb out to about 86 studs, 3-tap torso at maximum range, and 4-tap limb maximum range, still retaining 2-tap headshot. So it's a lot of numbers there. I apologize for that. If somehow that was too many numbers for you, let's just say it's extremely good. It does a lot of damage, and it has very little recoil. There's really not too much else to say about it. It's just a 1-tap monster, and it's very good. And of course, all of that in a very low level package, being unlocked at just rank 18. If you like the Desert Eagle, but you want it to just be a lot more powerful, you get the Grizzly, a rank 143 combination of as if you took basically a 1911 and you combine it with the Desert Eagle, and out comes the Grizzly. I mean, at least that's kind of what it looks like to me, you know, mixing in the iron sights and everything else. It's basically just a fat 1911 that does a stupid amount of damage. And when I say stupid, trust me, I mean stupid. Very stupid. You know, I really want to show you the stats here. I really do, I promise. But I can't stop getting kills with this. It is just so busted. Do I even need to show you the stats? Can I just play with this thing and just show you that way? No, I'll show you the stats. I'll show you. I'm too nice to deprive you from the stats. So, of course, just looking at the damage, you can see 77 out to 35 studs, 39 minimum. Of course, we get 1-tap headshot out to about 123 studs. 2-tap torso, maximum range, and always 3-shot to the limb. It speaks for itself. Of course, you got the crazy multipliers and stuff to go along with it too. Though, with the downside of having a muzzle velocity less than that of the Zip 22. Moving on to the machine pistols here, we're going to start with the ASMI. Now, the ASMI is one of those weapons, one of the many, many weapons over time that I've gone from thinking is the worst in the entire game to actually being a great replacement for even a lot of assault rifles, or rather, a lot of primaries for that matter in this game. And again, a lot of that ends up kind of leading back to the damage, and of course, the recoil, and just overall the profile of this weapon, and everything else because it's just insanely good. The elephant in the room of this weapon might be that it is kind of horrendously ugly, and it honestly has like the same kind of grip as a Glock, but it does more than just act like a Glock, right? It does a lot more. Every time I use this, look at, there's even one there. This weapon on the surface looks like it does pretty mediocre damage. It does 32 damage out to 50 studs and 19 damage minimum. So it seems really average for something like this. But whenever you throw in the crazy good multipliers, you see we get 2-tap headshot out to 63 studs, 3-tap torso out to 67 studs. And even on the lower end of the damages here, the recoil and fire rate are decent enough to be able to get 4 to 5 shot kills out to very nice ranges. To tag on to that too, even though that the damage figures might be a little bit lower at range, to kind of compensate for that, it comes with a 33 round magazine by default. So there's plenty of room for errors in your recoil because you get to just keep on shooting. And of course, all those reasons that we've listed here today are pretty much the main things that you will see with this weapon that make it just so freaking awesome. Sadly, though, it is a bit of a higher rank unlock at just 97, but I feel like it's just a great pre-buy, so honestly, I'd say it's worth saving up for it. Maybe get it for yourself. A very cultish weapon for Phantom Force has to be the Tech 9. Now, you don't really see this weapon as often as people used to back in the day, and that is because, I mean, that basically is what this is. A relic from the past that you just don't really see anymore. And I really couldn't tell you why that is. I mean, it's one of the fastest firing weapons in this game. It has, I believe, the highest stock fire rate of any weapon too, at 1500. Kind of a lot, to be honest. And the only real issue that I have with this weapon is the default magazine capacity is just 20, which to me isn't enough, so extended magazine is usually what I opt for. More bullet, but less ammo. But it's still a pretty decent choice in general. I don't really have an issue with it. I have a lot of fun with it, in fact, like I said. But yeah, in general, it's pretty good. Damage and stuff is all extremely low, unfortunately, for this. No crazy multipliers or anything. I forgot to mention, by the way, Tech 9 is unlocked at rank 50, so do with that what you will. And that's pretty much what all that the Tech 9 is. And though with a similar philosophy, though not to quite the extreme of the Tech 9, we have the Skorpion. Now, this is a weapon that also has a fairly high fire rate, all things considered, at 850. It also has a fairly high unlock level of 87. But yes, up until the release of the ASMI, I would have told you day in and day out that the Skorpion is essentially a pocket assault rifle. It's got low-ish recoil for what it is, I guess. A 20-round magazine capacity, as stated before, higher than average fire rates, and in general, just a lot of fun use to it. Up close damage is really nice, and for smaller maps like Bazaar or Metro, it provides a really, really fun CQC experience. Though sadly, what it has going for it in CQC performance, it most definitely does not in most range scenarios. This really is a middle ground between the ASMI and the Tech 9 that we talked about previously, having like an in-between fire rate for the two of them, having in-between range potentials, having in-between recoil, and in general, yeah, range performance is definitely not going to be this thing's strong suit, as you can see here. But the 3-shot up close is very nice and respectable. Moving on to the revolvers, the MP412 Rex. This one is just one of those if you know, you know kind of weapons, because not many people really use the revolvers, I don't think. Yeah, cue the revolver mains threatening my life in the comments section. But there's a lot to like about this. First of all, rank 4, crazy good damage, 1-tap headshot, that's about 110 studs, 2-tap torso out's about 105, 3-tap limb out's about the same distance, and of course 3-tap torso at maximum range, or 4-tap limb. There's a whole lot of ways that you can mix and match your damage with the revolvers in this game, because they all just have such high damage. Of course, I think a worthwhile trade-off, considering the fact that you're trading ammo capacity, because yeah, this is really low. Really, 6 rounds is not going to take you all that far in this game. But you can't deny what the damage will do for you, man. The next weapon is one that I absolutely love and brings back a lot of good memories for me. And that's going to be the Judge. Now, this is one, where did my bullets go? Now, this is one that I like not just because it is a very, very fun and overpowered shotgun revolver, but also because it used to be one of my favorite weapons in Black Ops 2. Now, of course, that weapon was called the Executioner and not the Judge like it's called in this game. And weirdly enough, Phantom Forces has its own Executioner, which, don't worry, we'll be talking about in just a moment here. But there's not much to say about the Judge. It's basically a pocket shotgun with some very nice damage to it, albeit very horrendous range. I mean, what do you expect? It's a shotgun. You're not going to be sniping with it, so... You know, up close is basically about where this is going to be effective. Yeah, that's damage not looking too hot there. But CQC, it's nice, though. Otherwise, again, there's not much to say about it. Shotgun revolver, it's fun, it's goofy, it's good when it wants to be. What also works very well is going to be the Executioner. The Executioner in this game is effectively what you would imagine from like a movie revolver, basically, right? This thing is extremely beefy looking. It's extremely beefy sounding, and it's extremely beefy performing as well. If it were any more beefy, it would be the uncooked beef in my fridge that I forgot about. By the way, if you want to know a really cool taco recipe, let me know. I might make a video on that. But the Executioner is, like I said, just about what you'd expect from like any kind of revolver. It looks huge and big, and it does ridiculous amounts of damage here. One tap head out to about 141 studs, 2 tap torso out to about 150, always a 3 tap limb, and beautifully enough, even a 1 tap torso out to about 60 studs. Now, the downside with this revolver, and for me and for probably a lot of other people, it is a pretty big downside, is going to be an exceedingly long reload. So if I go ahead and empty the revolver real quick, you will see we have to reload these shells individually. And while, yes, you can interrupt the reload, it does just take quite a bit of time. Really, it's fast enough where it's not that big of a deal. Though the biggest downside or hindrance that a lot of people might not like about it, or rather that might make a lot of people not even be able to use this, is going to be its unlock rank, which is very high at rank 137. So do with that what you will, and now we're going to move on to the other category. The dreaded category that contains the SAS 308, but we are safe, it is not on this list, I assure you. But what is, though, is going to be the level 36 unlock of the Super Shorty. Now, this I have a lot of kills on. I have about 2,000 kills on this. And that is for a very good reason, because much like the ASMI... Oh, God, I'm just stepping on grenades today. Much like the ASMI, this is very much a weapon that you could replace with a primary weapon. It gives you just general Phantom Forces shotgun performance, that, of course, meaning it's very overpowered. And you get to have it as your secondary, meaning that you could have whatever else you want, namely a 4T5 if you'd like. But naturally, it being a secondary shotgun, there is of course going to be a lot to love about it, and very few things to not like about it. And unfortunately, one of those things to not like about this weapon is going to be ammo capacity. Because yes, this is going to be with extended tube. That's how I've been using this. That's how I've always used it. That's how I'm always going to use it. But by default, it only has 2 rounds. Of course, it does luckily have a +1 capacity, so you can have a maximum of 3. But unfortunately, 3 rounds just does not cut it in a lot of situations. Great for a secondary, but not great for a primary replacement. So I'd say extended tube is a little bit more mandatory than not if you're looking to run this as a primary weapon, which you most definitely could without very many issues, really. Damage and stuff, it's kind of hard to talk about because it is a shotgun. You have a lot of pellets. It all depends on like your distance and how many pellets you're able to land and stuff, but these are the damage numbers if you're interested. Overall though, I like it a lot. It's a fantastic weapon. I encourage you to use it. It's only a level 36 unlock, like I said, so basically everyone who's watching this is going to have it. Give it a try if you haven't already. You may be surprised at how much you enjoy it. The sawed-off is very similar to the Super Shorty in a lot of ways. You only get 2 rounds, you get 8 pellets. It does pretty good damage actually up close. Though what is not similar to the Super Shorty is going to be the fact that this has a burst mode for it. And if somehow you do not know what burst is, it basically fires both shells at once. Now this gives you a ton of damage, it gives you a ton of pellets, and it basically turns this thing into a one-shot machine. Now sadly, compared to its larger brother, the Stevens DB, or basically the primary version of the sawed-off, it doesn't have nearly the effective range damage that this does. Damage drop-off is extremely harsh, and really this is not one that you're going to want to run as a primary, unlike the Super Shorty. But it's one that you can still very much have a ton of fun with, and overall just getting those like single like meat shots just is so satisfying. Though, like I said, we do have a bonus weapon here. And if you couldn't tell by my little blurred preview earlier, that's going to be the coil gun. And the reason that it's a bonus weapon and not officially on the list is because by default, this thing is horrible. This thing does a maximum of 19 damage with a minimum of 5, which means even if you're lucky at point blank, it takes 6 shots to kill somebody. Now, it does have a fire rate of 2,500 with a 5-round burst or 850 with auto. So the scenario where this is on the list is going to be with the particular attachments that I have chosen on it, consisting of crowd control setup and heavy discs, giving you a bit better damage, but very nice full auto potential with this, and maintaining 0, and I mean 0 recoil. So while yes, your damage is going to remain very, very low considering what this weapon is, if I take it to a smaller map, possibly, it can shred very, very nicely. It will still kind of be limited to like a lot of specific circumstances, but as a bonus weapon, I'd say it's a nice little inclusion. And at just rank 87, sure, go for it if you want to use it. If you got it, use it. I wouldn't say pre-buy it though. Well, yes, that is going to be it for our very extensive list here of a good handful of weapons. What is your favorite secondary in the entire game? I would absolutely love to know in the comments section below, or maybe you have a favorite on this list. If you do, make sure to let me know all that in the comments section below. And of course, don't forget, please subscribe if you're new. Not to mention too, you can become a channel member like the amazing, fantastic, lovely people up on screen right now with the join button on my channel or the link in the description below. If literally nothing else and you just want to see more videos like this that already exist, you can do so with the playlist up on screen right now. There's over 500 Phantom Forces videos in it, and trust me, it makes for a fantastic binge session. Other than that, that's pretty much gonna be it for today's video. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched to the end, make sure to like as well. It helps promote the video a bunch, and I don't know much of what else to say. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you. Peace.